A key figure in the war on illegal drugs, today convicted of taking big bribes from a big cartel. Garcia Luna, accused of receiving millions of dollars to allow the Sinaloa drug cartel, that's the one tied to drug kingpin El Chapo, to smuggle cocaine into the U.S. when Luna was the former head of what would be equivalent to the FBI here in the U.S. He was that in Mexico. Luna's guilty verdict comes 3 days after 3 days of jury deliberations and a 4-week trial in a New York court. Correspondent Robert Sherman is live with the details. Good evening, Robert.
Good evening to you, Nicole. Yeah, pretty big development here for prosecutors as Mexico's top cop was supposed to be an ally of the U.S. He was supposed to go after the cartels. Turns out, in hindsight being 2020, what came out in court is that Garcia Luna was actually working with those cartels. It was found that he had taken tens of millions of dollars from these cartel organizations and that he was conspiring to smuggle drugs here into the U.S., aiding these cartel groups and things of that nature. But this is the important point that we really want to make here, Nicole, is that when you talk to anybody in law enforcement down here, they say if you want to secure this border, you've got to have Mexico on board. You have to have Mexican law enforcement doing their part on their side of the border in order to secure the U.S.-Mexico border, in order to stop the flowing of drugs into the U.S., to stop all the cartel-related crime. And this highlights the biggest issue that law enforcement is facing down here, Nicole, is that when it comes to the U.S.-Mexico border, it's not the U.S. and it's not Mexico who are in charge. It is the cartels without question. Take a listen.
But I would tell you, there's a deep control. We know extortion runs at a really high rate in Mexico, but yet there's only about 4,000 cases that were reported. And there's certain organizations that say that's about 3% of cases that are occurring, because there's a genuine fear. If you're a victim of extortion, do I call the police? And if I call the police, is that a direct line to the cartel? And that's a very real issue.
You heard it right there. That is the big concern here is that who can you trust now with this conviction coming down? We know that Garcia Luna's sentencing is slated for June 27th, where he could be facing life in prison, Nicole.
All right, so Robert, with so many people, wondering who can you trust, what does this do to U.S.-Mexico relations? Because both sides are trying to combat these cartels.
Well, we have seen this back and forth over the last couple of months, Nicole, where the U.S. and Mexico have had some somewhat strained relations over the issue of migration here in the Western Hemisphere. You had Mexico not coming to the Summit of the Americas a few months ago. You've had this back and forth between the leadership of these two countries here. And that's a big concern. Again, law enforcement here in the U.S. says that they need Mexico on board in order to deal with all of this. Well, there are these concerns about who exactly can you trust in Mexican government, be that at the local, the state, or the federal level. So those concerns certainly being amplified in the wake of this. Nicole.
Absolutely. All right. Robert Sherman live for us on that. Thank you. Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.